Hey everyone, welcome back to After the Island. I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Alex.
And today we have Bria with us. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course. Hi guys. Anytime. I'm so excited.
How are you doing post Villa?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing well. I'm getting acclimated to just my normal day-to-day schedule and kind of figuring out what that even looks like these days.
I can't imagine. I was stalking your Instagram because I was like noticing all of your outfits, and we were just talking about this on our podcast recently. And like I hadn't been paying attention to the outfits, but I started stalking yours and I was like, okay.
I love that. That's like one of the best compliments I can get. I love dressing.
Oh, I love your style page too, like where you put together the outfits.
Yeah, that's kind of like my side passion. Thanks so much. I really have so much fun doing that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know. I even remember the orange dress you wore for the final episode. I put that in my roundup of my favorite looks that I've been through.
I love that. Yeah, that dress was a killer. It was really hot.
Where was it from?
Yeah, going off of that, someone literally said, "Where is this orange dress from?"
It's from Opali.
Okay, amazing. There you go, Royal Robetta.
Yes, there you go, girl.
Let's get into your journey on Love Island.
How were you first discovered for the show? Were you scouted? Did you apply? What did the process look like for you?
Yeah, so I was kind of like scrolling through Instagram on like one of my off days from work, and I see like this like sponsored ad from Love Island. And I'm like, this could be like, just for like fake news. I'm like, let me check. So like I go on, I apply, and then I like get a call 2 hours later, and they're like, hey, like we really like your profile. Like, what do you think about being on the show? Like going through like the process. And I'm like, I don't know, let's do it. Like, so I went from there.
Did you like bring Chaz into this? Like, how did the sibling situation happen?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So on my application, actually, like they were asking about, family. They ask a bunch of questions, but they were asking about my family. And I mentioned like I have a really cute brother. He's just like me, super outgoing. He's super fun. Like, so I just kind of like briefly mentioned it. And then they were like, we love you, but about this brother you have, can we meet him? And I was just like, let's do it. And it kind of just like snowballed from there.
That's so funny. It was such a twist. We were like, wait, what?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I know, even the reaction of the Islanders when they were asking, and they were like, well, are you guys into each other? And you guys were like, well, and then their faces were so funny.
Yeah, Andy kind of picked it out. He was like, you guys kind of look alike, but nobody was like, agreeing with him. And then when we told them, they were like, oh my God, yeah, you do look alike. I'm like, yeah.
That's really funny.
That's amazing. It was such an interesting concept. They really used that. They really went for it. But how was it being in there with Chaz, first of all? Like, I feel like it's such a different dynamic. You kind of have someone to lean on. You go in having someone, which is something we haven't really seen before.
So, I mean, it really, for me, it was mostly a pro. Like, I didn't really see many cons. Like, I could see it for, like, maybe some of the Islanders. But for me personally, I just felt like it was, like, a support system I had with me. And I didn't have to, like, I knew he had my best interests. And he was just always there for me to pick me up and, like, give me good advice and kind of be my eyes and ears around the villa when I couldn't see everything.
Speaking of, I know everyone had questions about, obviously you were into Timmy, but like, did you tell Chaz to pick Timmy for you?
Everyone's asking that. I did not ever blatantly say like, pick this person for me. I kind of like was keeping him updated with kind of how I was doing with each of the guys. Like I talked to Jesse, I talked to Isaiah and like some others. And so I was just telling him like, this is how it went with this guy and this guy. And then he was like, okay, I feel like I know who I want to choose for you. And I was like, I trust you. Just go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I feel like another layered dynamic and twist that we didn't see coming is that you guys got to both choose for each other who you were going to couple up with. Yeah. So did Chaz then ask you or like give you any indication of who he was interested in, or were you like literally basically interviewing the girls and making your decision based on that?
Yeah, I mean, like he kind of did the same thing. He was checking in with me from time to time, like this is how it's going with this girl versus, this girl. And then I kind of had my own conversations with each of them. And I was like, what do you want out of this like experience? And from there, because since, Chaz is the youngest one there, I really want to be realistic with what he could offer each of the girls that he was kind of trying to find a connection with. And so talking to Maddie, she wanted, something more concrete, someone who can provide for her. And, Chaz is like on the younger end. So I just felt like with what Serenity wanted, it just matched up more with what I felt like Chaz could give her. So that's how I came to my decision ultimately, but he never told me who to pick.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So after they had coupled up, did you then see a connection between them ever? Or did you think that maybe there was something missing? Like, could you tell that maybe Chaz wasn't 100% into her or needed something more, or that she ended up not being a good match for him at all?
No, based on what she told me when I spoke to her before the recoupling, even, she told me, like, I just want someone who's going to treat me well, someone who can make me feel good, make me feel number one. And I was like, got it. Chaz can do that for you, And so when I did pick her, ultimately, I felt like he was showing her all of those things, like, making her breakfast and like just having those kinds of conversations with her, just treating her like she was number one. So I always felt like they had a connection. And it was just unfortunate to kind of find that, obviously you don't mesh. Everything is not always going to line up at the end of the day. So it was kind of, that sucked at the end, but I felt like they gave it a good try.
For sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Well, let's get into
more of you.
You as this bombshell. You came in hot, and literally we watched you walk in and we were like, that's the prettiest girl I've ever seen in my life.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No.
You
looked
insane. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So when you went in, were your eyes like strictly on Timmy, or did you have any other kind of like not options, but like who else were you interested in?
Yeah, to be truthful, my eyes were definitely on Timmy. And at that time we had like, it was like he's in my top 3, but he was number 1 for me. And like kind of funny story, like actually when I was like working in New York, I had a friend that kind of like went out with Timmy before. And so she told me, like, you would really like this guy. Like, he and I didn't work out. We only went on one date, but I think he's like your vibe. And I was like, So then when I kind of was like watching and I saw him on TV, I was like, get out. Like, I kind of like know this guy. And I was like, I felt like it was kind of like meant to be for us to have some type of connection after that. So I was definitely gunning for Timmy first, but I had to talk to him, of course, but he was in my top 3.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because I always say the best way to meet people is through mutual friends.
Yeah.
Like versus any other avenue. So you guys definitely would have hit it off from
That's
having
so
even
funny.
one person in common.
Yeah. Wait, that's such a weird coincidence too.
Oh, it was crazy. It just felt right at that time. I was like, I have to try it out. I have to go for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you did. You went for it.
I did.
I think like from a viewer's perspective, sometimes we lose the allowing other people to get to know, people make OGs their favorites and then they're ride or die for them. Right. So you come in at a disadvantage, of course, but you really did. You came in, and I just want to know, I feel like you and Timmy definitely had something more than we saw. Yeah. So can you explain a little bit more? Because like, I feel like you guys had a lot of more talks and he was telling you things that maybe we didn't hear. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So we definitely had some conversations. Of course, you guys didn't see everything. And so we talked about, careers, like he's into music, like I like music, like he likes comedy, like he's obviously funny, and like I loved his humor, like his dad jokes, like that's really what won me over. I was just like, I'm literally like a dad joke like person, like that's like my sense of humor. And so we just connected on like levels of like life experiences. Like although he was older than me, I just felt like we could really connect on like those like more personal levels. And you guys didn't get to see that much. I feel like it was overshadowed kind of by like the me and Zeta kind of interaction. And kind of like me going on dates with Isaiah. So it was kind of like all over. You guys didn't really get to see like me and Timmy like have those deep interactions that I felt like we had off camera.
So like going off of the Zeta thing, I know that they definitely showed both of you having your moments with each other, but what they didn't show and what a lot of people actually caught from watching behind everything else happening was that you guys seem to have a friendship.
Yeah, we can go ahead. We were frenemies, man. I don't know what to call it. Like, I feel like that's the best way to describe it. Like, I think naturally we were like drawn to each other because we were both like intelligent. We were both confident. Like, we were funny. So outgoing, so many other things. So I just felt like we had a lot in common. We really would have been closer had it not been for like the Timmy kind of situation that happened.
You guys are both very alpha female, a lot of presence when walking into a room. So funny. But we did see, some conversations toward the end where we were like, oh, maybe they are really good friends or have hashed this out. So it's interesting to see that, or also great to see that. that a guy won't come completely in between.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we were coming to our senses. We're like, okay, let's be real. Like, if it wasn't for this, like, we could get along. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So after the whole Timmy mess, or I guess during it, can you explain what was the game where you said that, like, I forget what you said.
No, I know exactly what you mean. People are going to eat me up for this, and I'm glad I can clear the air finally, once and for all. So this is what happened. So what I meant by sneak attack is like there was times where we would be in bed, and that was the only time that we can really connect because I mean not fully, but like most intimately because nobody else was around staring at us, like watching us kiss and that kind of thing. So we were more intimate, like when we could talk just at night. So anyway, there'd be times that he would get really excited, like if we'd be like making out or something, and then he'd like turn to his side and he'd be like, okay, like let me calm down, like let me chill out. And I'm like, okay, chill out. And then like I'd turn to my side, and then I'd kind of like sneak back over, and I'd be like, I don't think I want it to be done just yet. So then we'd go back at it again. So it was that kind of thing. And then the next day he was kind of like, I kind of like that sneak attack thing that you did. Like I don't mind it. And then we kind of like laughed about it. Anyways, what really got me is the fact that in the game, he pretended like he didn't know what I was talking about. Like, let's really talk about it. Timmy needs to be like, someone needs to hold him accountable for acting like he did not know what I was talking about because there was another scene where he admitted to the guys that he knew what I was talking about. And so I just felt like Timmy was running games and he was definitely like leading me on. He was telling me one thing and telling her something else, which is why ultimately I wanted to have a conversation with everyone. Like let's the three of us like sit down. Like now we don't have to play telephone. I want to get to the bottom of this. Like, who's your choice?
I actually loved that you did that when they were talking and you just came and sat right up with them and you were just like, basically, I should be a part of this conversation too. And I was like, honestly, she's not wrong. Like, I would want to hear everything
At
too.
that point, you know, like who are you coupled with, me or her? Like I want to know so I can just move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, Jeff, like stirring the pot. He's like, yeah, you should do it. You should do it.
Totally egged that
Oh
on.
my gosh, Jeff was like sitting there telling me like, don't do it. Like he was telling me not to go over there. He was like, just chill out. Like, cause I felt like he and I could relate. Like that's your couple over there and that's mine. Like, what are we gonna do about it? Like, I'm trying to get him on my team. And Jeff is like, no. And I'm like, I'll go without you. It doesn't matter.
I'm dead.
Wait, that's so funny because the way it's clipped is it must have been the only time he said yes, do it, and then the rest of it was no.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice that because he was telling me don't go over there, don't go over there.
That is hilarious.
That is really funny.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Well, so essentially at that point, you kind of were like, all right, this is done. And it was a really hard moment to watch you kind of break down. And we noticed, Elizabeth mostly noticed that none of the girls really came to comfort you. Did we miss something?
Yeah, they were all doing their makeup while you were sitting there crying.
Yeah, no, you read it right. You read the room correctly. That's kind of how it was for me in there, which made it extra tough for me to kind of experience, you know, the true like Love Island experience because I felt in the past that like the girls were more accepting and supportive even of the bombshells that did come in. And I just felt like this was a really tight-knit group this time. And I just, no matter what I did, we couldn't kind of bond on those levels, even though I tried.
I think the reasoning behind that is?
I just think, I honestly, I don't know. I feel that I couldn't tell you. I really wish I knew why no one came to give me a hug. Out of all the girls there, just like one person coming over and being like, I get you. I know what you're going through. Because those are the only people you can really relate to in there. They've gone through the exact same things that you have. So I was really looking forward to that and having those connections. And it just wasn't there. And thank God for my brother being there. Because I genuinely feel like I would have been crying on my own shoulder.
It was really tough to watch. And it was so nice to see Chaz like being A1. Like he was the A1 brother.
Yeah, honestly. I couldn't have did it without him. I really mean it.
He even, I feel like, has been sticking up for you, even though you've been gone. If you've been watching still, because obviously he's still on, and you got to support him. But he's even like talking to Maddie at one point. He's like, "Oh, you know, like you're not really making a connection with anyone in here. Like, why didn't you guys just save Bria then?" Like he still was applying the heat. I think he's still very bummed that you're not there.
I know. I love that he's kind of keeping me alive in there. He's still holding support for me, like going through it. And I'm just like, I really appreciate it because I felt like I wanted to know the reason too. And I felt like people watching were kind of wondering the same thing. So I felt like he just asked the question everyone was wondering.
Yeah, no. And that was another question that I saw a lot of people asking was, did the girls ever tell you why they decided for you to go home? Or like, were you kind of just left like, okay.
Yeah, I think Sydney mentioned in the episode that they sent me home because they felt that I made it clear I was only interested in Timmy rather than also being interested in Jeff. And I don't feel like that was true. I felt like even if that was said, which it wasn't in my opinion, but I just felt like you can see that there was a connection between Jeff and I. Even during the game, he said if it wasn't Zeta that he was coupled with, he would want to be coupled with me. So obviously there was a connection there. Kind of how I went about it.
So you think too that you would have been open if you had stayed to getting to know anyone new that might have been coming in?
Absolutely. And I was very accepting once Timmy made his decision. I just wanted to know what it was. And then once he made it, I felt like I gave myself my time to kind of like cry and feel bad for myself. And then like I got up the next day and I was like, okay, I'm ready again. Like, who else can I connect with? And Jeff was definitely like at the top of my list.
Yeah. So going off of that, like we love Jeff. We love him.
So funny.
Oh my gosh. I love to hear that.
What was your connection like with him after? I mean, did you feel anything while you were also exploring with Timmy? Or were like, I know you said you were like laser focused on Timmy until you got took way too long, in my opinion. But what was your connection like with Jeff? And were you upset that you had to leave like while you were just establishing this with him?
Yeah, so my connection with Jeff, we related obviously on the level that both of the people that we were coupled with were kind of wondering if they needed to be together instead of coupled with us. So we were in the same boat in that way. And then also when he first came in with Bryce, he and I hit it off immediately. Like, you know, we were talking and like, I felt like he didn't say it at the time, but I definitely felt like he would have been interested in me. He kind of reminds me of people that like I've dated in the past. Like he reminds me of home kind of thing, like some guys that I would go for normally. So that was always there for me. And so I don't know, we connected on some like life personal levels that you guys didn't always get to see. I feel like you guys kind of saw the end conversation we had when I got eliminated. So obviously like there was other things you guys didn't see, like that kind of allowed us to have that moment when we did.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now.
It goes right into this fan question that is, was there anything that was shown that you wish was?
That's a good question. Probably more of me and Timmy's conversations, of course. Like just seeing that there was something genuine there. A lot of people are getting it, you know, perceiving it as it was like sexual tension between us, and that's mostly what it was, but that's not true. It was a lot more than that, but it wasn't shown. And then also same thing with Jeff, just like saying, like kind of like filming that we did have like conversations, we did have connections that people just didn't get to see. You know, like after that situation with Zeta and Timmy, when they slept outside, it was just Jeff and I in the room and our beds were next to each other. We both slept in separate beds, but he was talking to me all night, kind of telling me like, don't let anyone see you get you down. Like, you know, like you're going to get through this, like, you know, kind of like encouraging things, which was really sweet, but we just didn't get a chance to see it.
He does seem like such an encouraging man. Like
so positive.
to every woman in there. Like it's so cute.
Yeah, he's the shoulder to cry on for sure, but he deserves so much more than that. You know what I mean? Like he really deserves a true connection, and I hope he gets that. And I hate that I couldn't kind of explore that with him.
In Casa more, I really hope he finds a genuine connection there. And same with Chaz, unless he what do you think of Chaz and Kat?
I think we all see the same thing in this. I don't think Kat's 100% there for Chaz. I think Chaz is more so there for her. It's definitely one-sided in that way. I think she tried, but ultimately their connection is more of a friendship rather than a romantic connection, in my opinion. Like they have similarities and things in common, but nothing romantic that I've seen.
Yeah. And I feel like he's in a good mindset about it now and could kind of gauge this Casa, getting to know everyone, like putting himself fully out there, which is great.
Yeah. Did any of the girls from Casa catch your eye for him? Like, who do you think he's going to go for?
I honestly don't know. I feel like the parts that I did see, like I couldn't really tell personality wise, like they're all beautiful. So it's not a matter of like that, like appearance wise, but just like how they act that I feel like would mesh well with like the personality that Chaz has. So I haven't seen much of it yet that makes me feel drawn to any specific person, but I do see that, some similarities in kind of like how the cast looks that they picked. I noticed that like Chad definitely looks like Chaz. And I noticed that Kat was kind of feeling Chad. And I was very confused because I'm just like, I mean, that's like a taller version of Chaz. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of crazy.
No, I was like Chaz and Chad. No, Chaz and Chad, literally. Someone sent in a question. Do you think that your Love Island experience would have gone different had you went in solo and not with your brother?
Of course, there's always, I think that's like a big factor. Obviously, Chaz was like a support system for me and kind of like a shoulder to cry on. But most times when bombshells do come in, they come in with someone else. So I just feel like that is kind of in a way also like a sense of support, like just coming in with someone else that's on like the same page as you. So I felt like if I had come in with another girl, maybe that person would be my support. We'd be kind of in the same boat, kind of how Kat and Nija are. So I just felt like, they're kind of like sticking together too.
Aside from Chaz, who were you closest to in the villa? Also, there was Jeff.
Right. Serenity and I definitely had like a good relationship. Like, she would, we would relate on a lot of like life things. But ultimately I felt like, she was more of a friend of Zeta's, and it was unfortunate that she felt she had to like choose between who she would want to be better friends with. I think that at times that I was sad and she didn't come to like see if I was okay, kind of showed me that, she's more on Zeta's side or just the neutral side. And I really hated that for me. So it kind of felt like even though we were friends, we kind of weren't the kind that I thought that we were, unfortunately. So that was probably the closest person that I felt that I was to in the villa.
Switching it up, this question just came to mind. So obviously you watched Timmy and Zeta's relationship. Do you see him straying at all in Casa? Or
I think Timmy knows better at this point. I think he tried it and he sees everyone's reaction to what it looks like when he tries to explore new connections. And it's unfortunate that it's not more welcomed. There's a ways to do it respectfully. And I felt like, he could have tried a little bit harder to do it respectfully on both of our ends, like, exploring me and Zeta. But ultimately that I'm hoping just for Zeta's sake that he doesn't turn his head.
going off of your thoughts of, wanting everyone to stay open in Love Island and being able to explore their connections without any kind of judgment or someone being upset, what are your thoughts also of Isaiah and Sydney?
I think you owe it to yourself when you're there to explore those new connections. And I can't say it enough. I mean, if your connection is really strong with whoever you feel like it's strong with, you will come back. And like I said, there's just ways to explore those connections respectfully. And I think that you should do that just, because other people's feelings are involved. And that's kind of like the best way I would say to go about it. But I don't think you should not explore those options just because you're in something that you think is really strong at the moment. If it's strong, you'll be back.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
And my last inside scoop question is Jessie and Deb. Is Jessie just very reserved and quiet and it's just very hard to like get close to him? Or do you think that there is just a spark missing there in their relationship?
Oh, that's such a tough question because I really do like the two of them together and they have a great foundation. They know a lot about each other. They get along well. But I don't see that romantic connection so much. And I do see him having that with Serenity, though. So I know he's capable of it because he kissed her multiple times. He chose to make out with her. Like, I definitely feel like there's something there. And I just feel that, again, it's so kind of frowned upon to explore new connections that he just didn't feel encouraged to do that with Serenity. And so maybe that's a regret for him in that way. But I think that he definitely maybe should have gave it a shot.
Alex was calling that.
Yeah.
Even before he did that in the challenge, she was like, I think that he's into Serenity.
Connection. It's like magnetic when they do explore it. And so I was like,
it's such an interesting dynamic. I mean, like, as we say, we are watching as viewers, but we also know when you're in the villa, like, it's so different. You just see everything so differently. So we love getting everyone's take on everyone.
Another thing is, so the girls obviously chose to save Maddie, who then we saw chose to leave the villa. Does that make you super upset? Like, you wish you could go back and rejoin? Like, if they had said you can go back right now, would you?
I would have. My bags aren't even unpacked yet. I'd be on the first flight there because I felt like I had a lot more to explore, a lot more to accomplish and connections to make. And I just felt like I was really sold short in that way.
Yeah. I think hearing from you now, like, I would totally be like, oh my God, send her back in. Like,
yeah, I don't think it was your time to go yet. It's like, it's unfortunate.
Going into it, did you and Chaz make jokes about who would make it longer on the show, or what were you guys kind of predicting for that?
Yeah, we were just joking about like who would last longer, of course. And I definitely felt like it was going to be me just because like, I don't know, like I love and, sometimes guys are more like, yeah, whatever, we'll see. And so I just felt like for that reason, I was going to like fall and I was going to like fall fast and like, really kick it off with someone. But I was wrong, I felt like I was on the road to doing it, but it got stopped short. So, I'm still really happy for him though.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, first glance, I would have guessed you would have made it a little farther too, just because the show takes so much like emotional maturity. And I know he's, 21, which is so young to be doing something like this. And we obviously could see right away that you were much more experienced with relationships and being able to express your emotions, etc. So I feel like that also has been interesting to watch. But
For
he
sure.
seems like he's grown so much already. So it's kind of nice to watch that for him.
I know, like what an experience to kind of like be on Love Island and then go to school, a couple weeks later. Like it's gonna be like so cool, It's like a great experience at such a young age.
Oh my God, wait, so is he going back to college?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be the big man on campus.
Yeah,
it really
is.
He's also an athlete, right?
Right. Yeah. So
No, he's about to be living his best life.
I know, right? I don't even want to think about it. He definitely is.
Yeah, you're like as an older sister. Oh no.
Yeah, totally.
I think a big question is, do you have any regrets?
I really don't. I felt like I put my best foot forward, and that's like a controlled environment where a lot of things happen that you may have never expected to happen. So it's kind of like you have to roll with it. Like a lot of times in situations, I didn't even know how I would have reacted until I was just in the situation and I had to react. So I felt like I learned a lot as well, just about like communicating and having those tough conversations, because it's like essentially you're dating everyone in front of everyone. So there's nothing to hide, you have to have these tough conversations. So I learned a lot, but I felt like I put my best foot forward every day and I was myself, and that's all I can ask for in that experience.
That's the best way to be. And it is so funny that you mentioned that, because it is so hard going in there and you're like, wow, every day I have to just literally react. You're reacting, like that's it. And you like sometimes don't know what's gonna happen and how you're gonna react, and then you're like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Right. And that's the thing. Yeah. Like, give us grace. Like we're in some situations that we never imagined being in and we just have to react. And so it's like, this is just.
I want to ask about this conversation. I think it was like one of the first you had with Zeta.
Right.
And it was like so awkward, this conversation. I wanted to go through.
Oh my God. You felt it too. I was like, oh my God, this is awkward.
I like just need an explanation of what you guys were even talking about, because the way that it was cut, I was like, they are not seeing what each other is saying.
It was like two totally different conversations happening.
I know. She's like talking about her gut. I'm like talking about like, can we just all be friends? Like what's going on? At this point, I don't even know. I just walked away. Like I was as confused as you guys, not gonna lie. Like
okay, when you walked away, I don't know if this was an editing thing or not. Did you flash your ass at her?
No, I was wearing this long cape, and like when you're hot and sweaty, like your stuff is sticking to you, so it's like sticking down like my legs and stuff. So I was just like grabbing it, but it looked like I was like showing her my ass and like walking away. I'm like, why did they do that? That's not what I was doing. Like, oh my God.
That's hilarious though.
That's really funny.
I'm glad we can clear that up.
Bria was not flashing her ass, okay?
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I know that was there any girl besides Serenity that you felt that you could confide in or be friends with? Because we really saw you kind of ostracized.
Yeah. What you saw was really what it was. I really tried to get in there and like to make peace and just to be friends with everyone. I was really looking forward to it. It just didn't happen. There was no one else that like I was really super close to, and I felt like the times that the girls could have shown me that they were there for me or cared about how I felt, they just didn't. And I don't want to sit here and kind of give like fake answers about, who I was close to. And it's unfortunate that with all the girls there, I couldn't walk out with at least one of them being my friend. It really, really sucks. And it was hurtful to kind of like add that as an obstacle in the villa. Like not only am I in this super weird love triangle, but now all of the girls are kind of like putting me on the outside. And so it's really, really difficult.
And my guess is too, in real world, in real life, is that how it kind of goes with other groups of girls, or have you experienced that in the past, or is it completely different on the outside?
Typically for me, I like to hang out with people one-on-one. Like that's how they get to know me best, because they're not kind of swayed by anyone's decision or opinion of me. And that's kind of like how I like to get to know people. And I always tell myself if I can find one good friend in any like group setting that I'm in, I feel really lucky. So, you know, in college, I have a couple of really good friends, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I don't look to make everyone my friend. I just look for, you know, people to get to know me, give me a chance. And like, let's kind of like figure out if we could be friends together.
Right.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think I just asked that because I always think of sometimes when I'm watching people and think back of when I interviewed for the show, one of the producers had asked me, he was like, "Are you a girl's girl or are you a guy's girl?"
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to answer at first. I was like, "I'm a girl's girl." And then I was like, "Well, I'm kind of a guy's girl too." And I was like, "Honestly, I think I'm split in the middle." But sometimes when we watch the show, I can see people and I'm like right away, that's a girl's girl. Or I see other people and I'm like, "Oh, she's such a guy's girl."
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is maybe like the case for you. Like, I guess I was kind of asking, like, are you like a guy's girl or was this just not the right clique of girls?
I'm very much so a girl's girl. Like, I will not argue over a guy. We will not be not friends over a guy. Like, I will look out for you if I feel like he's doing something wrong to you. Like, you know, I'm very respectful in that sense. Like, you know, even just exploring things with Timmy, I felt like when we were coupled is when we started doing those kinds of things. And when we weren't coupled, I backed off and I went my separate way with Jeff, just respectfully. Like, I would not do that to another girl because I just know how it feels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Totally.
So it's Jeff always singing. Like, Jeff is really like life of the party. Like, he was like singing to me while I was working out. Like, you know, me and my brother like doing some ab workouts, and then he's just like singing like all these songs, and I'm like, can you change that song? So he'd like change the station and sing something else. It was really funny. Like, and he was hitting notes. It was hilarious. Yeah,
So
he was really funny. And then also like with Timmy, like when we went on kind of like our speed date thing, when it was like all of us kind of like in the villa, like on a date, he was just super funny, and I really enjoyed the conversation. And I just had so many like belly laughs that you guys did not get to see, which is, it sucks, but like he really was making me laugh, and I had a great time with him.
Love that.
Yeah, so fun.
Yeah.
We're
You know what? I was just going to say, this is totally random, but I just thought about it. When you guys came in, I was dying. Like, Chaz was the designated pot stirrer. And
wait, yeah.
Yes, you read it so right. Yes.
I was like, this man, protect him at all costs right now. He is giving the truth to everyone.
It was so funny.
No, that was hilarious. Yeah, he definitely dropped that in there. And they were trying to kill the messenger for sure. And I'm like, no, like he didn't mean it like that. Like, we're sorry. Like, we don't know what to say.
Oh my God. I was going to say, how awkward was it like walking back? And then that's just like a huge bomb went off.
My gosh. Yeah, it was so awkward. It was awkward just being in the car with Isaiah, like watching him kind of like fume. And like, I was like, why is he like getting so upset? I'm like, and then when we got to the villa and like he handled it the way he did, I was like, oh my God, I kind of felt that coming. Like, he was so upset.
The bro. Bro.
What do you to tell me, bro?
Oh my God.
I can't imagine. I wish I was there to witness
I
it.
wish I could have seen him fuming in the car.
We were literally all just sitting on the swing, like watching, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
What's next for you?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. Of course, I'm super into fashion, so I still want to take my fashion seriously and kind of my social media seriously because I've been kind of on a roll. I've been doing really well, I feel like. But also, since I felt like my journey was cut so short on Love Island, I'm definitely looking to be on some other shows, like just to kind of get myself out there. I really want you guys to know who I am, and I felt like you guys didn't really get to see it all, so I definitely want to show you guys.
We love that.
I would love that.
What shows do you want to go on? Do you have any idea?
I don't. I think the dating shows are kind of, we can put that on hold for a little bit, but definitely maybe some other kinds I'd be open to. I just kind of have to see like what works for me.
Awesome. Oh, well, we can't wait to see. So for everyone that is listening, go follow Bria. Drop all of your ats, your YouTube channel. This is your time.
Okay, so follow me on Instagram at Bria__Bryant. And then YouTube is Beauty with Brie. We're going to post some more videos soon. And then my styling page is The Style Barbie. So you can find that also on my main Instagram.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And thank you so much for coming on today and talking with us.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It was so nice to meet you. We hope to meet you in the future in real life.
Yes, for sure. Yes. Thank you guys so much.
And wait, I have one more question.
Oh my God.
Sorry. I just remembered someone's going to kill me if I don't ask.
Yes.
Your sign.
Oh.
My sign? Scorpio.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Everyone was like, You have to ask, what is everyone's sign? Okay, got it. Perfect.
So for everyone that caught that last minute question, make sure to add Bria on social, add After the Island, like this video, leave us comments down below. And thank you guys all so much for watching.
Thank you, Bria.
Thank you.
Thank you.